Hi guys, I'm just finishing mixing my resin for a beach tumbler, but I usually finish this before I come on, but I wanted to explain something. Um, I'm using Faux Rizzle UV resin for this. Now, some people get thrown off by the UV term because there is a separate form of resin that is a UV resin itself. I have some right here. This is an actual UV resin. The actual UV resin is already mixed and you apply it to your piece, usually a smaller piece, mostly keychains and such, or the tops of phone grips, and then you either put them under a UV light to cure them or the UV sunlight will cure them, and they cure fairly quickly in a matter of minutes. The Faux Rizzle UV, or when you hear somebody talk about UV when it comes to a two-part epoxy resin, they're talking about an additive in the resin that slows the yellowing process of the resin, not the curing process itself. So, same words, two different things, two different meanings. But I just wanted to clear that up because I find I say I used the UV resin and people will sometimes be, oh, I don't have a UV resin. Well, I'm not referring to this type of UV resin when I say that typically. If I am, I will show that to you. I am referring to the UV protectant in my standard resin. All resins will work. Everybody has their own preference. I prefer the Faux Rizzle UV with that added protection for my tumblers. On a darker tumbler, it's not going to matter as much, but when you get into a tumbler that has lighter colors or a solid white, definitely make sure whatever you're using has a UV protectant in it. Some don't, and they will yellow relatively quickly. Your resin is still workable if one side has turned somewhat yellow in the bottle, but I wouldn't use it on a lighter color because it may cloud up your finished product. So that's what that means. I just wanted to explain that quick. I just dumped some resin on my table, but that's okay. I'm just going to grab a wipe and clean it up quick so I don't put my hand in it. It's actually the second time I've spilled resin today, so I'm on a roll. Okay. So, I tried this cup the other day. I do know what I'm doing, I swear, when it comes to this process, but the other day this cup was just not for me, so I'm giving it another try on an even bigger cup. But this was the cup I did the other day. I loved the way the bottom looked, and then I ended up scorching the top a bit. I needed less white, and what I really wanted was the whole cup to do what you can see in this area. So I'm not going to strip this one. I'm actually probably going to decal it and keep it to myself, or for myself, because, you know, I need another tumbler, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and put a clear coat on first. A fairly decent base. I mixed up 40 mLs minus whatever I spilled on the table. This isn't a glossy paint by any means, so it'll probably soak up a little bit of the resin. Oh, paints. I painted the cup with sea paints. I used secrets. I used a variety of colors. I think I used 2, 4, 6, 7 blues maybe, and 2 browns to achieve the look I was looking for. So that's what I used for the paint part. And this cup is drooping, so instead of fighting the cup, I will just prop the end of the turner when I'm finished and I move it to level it back off. I don't think I quite have my football in all the way. So I will fix that before I let it do its thing in the end. I do need a little bit of this second cup. This is a 30-ounce skinny I ordered from Maker Flow. Because I figure if you're going to mess up a tumbler for the second time, why not go big? I'm going to run my finger along the edge just to seal that top. And this should, if all goes well, after this coat, be able to go straight to the decal phase and then get 1 to 2 more coats. This cup doesn't have an owner, so it's just one I'm making for fun because I've been on a beach epoxy kick and wanted to use this method for a beach tumbler, even though it's not how I typically do beach tumblers. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit. I apologize, I picked one of my noisier turners, unfortunately. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to let it spin a minute and level out. I'm going to hit it with the torch just to pop any bubbles quick. When you're torching, you want to keep it moving. I do sometimes scorch my resin, as I showed you on the failed version of this cup, unfortunately. And I may very well scorch this one a little bit too. Don't let it scare you too much. Alright, so I have a little bit of resin left in the cup. I'm going to use the allumilite white opaque dye, and this is just pinata white alcohol ink. I'm going to squirt some of each in the cup. No rhyme or reason. Squirt of that. I don't know why I like to use both. It just seems to work for me. So that's what I do. And I don't seem to have any skinny cuticle sticks handy. I know I have some, or I thought I had some left. I don't know where they are. So I'm just going to grab this little teeny coffee stirrer stick, because part of what I did last time that I did wrong was I put too much of a concentration of white for the space I'm working. So this time I'm going to try not to do that. Last time I used the popsicle stick I mixed the white with. This time I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to attempt it with the skinny stick first and see if I can get enough. So my white's mixed, and I'm going to do a drizzle right over I'm going to do a couple lines. Like maybe 4 or 5. Hopefully these lines will be thick enough, but I can always add more. The problem is you can't take away if you've put too much, and that's what I ran into on the other one, and that's how I ended up scorching it trying to move it. So I'm just going to do a couple random. Alright, so this is the part that'll make or break the cup. I am going to take the torch and I'm going to try to hit it quickly and keep moving. I don't want to use the heat gun because I don't want to actually move it too much. I just want to break the white up. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. This is just a little handheld torch like you would use for a creme brulee or a little fire starter torch. Let me grab my other one. This little one, it's empty right now, so I can't use this one. And this one, my safety is epoxied stuck, so it's actually easier to use, where this one I have to hold my safety still. But this one is readily available at Walmart, as is the refill butane tanks. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to quick heat. Quick, 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 quick. From a little bit back. I'm going to try my best not to scorch my white this time. I do find it easiest to click on and off. It's when I leave it running constantly that I tend to get myself in trouble. And once I get it moved some, I may hit it with the heat gun also, just to flow it more. But I am trying to create cells more so than movement. At this point. And it is harder to create the cells on something that is moving. I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple popsicle sticks and block this up because I can see everything sinking that way. So, just to try and level it out a little bit more right now. Like I've completely lost my top line to the flow. And I actually don't think I'm going to hit it with the heat gun at all. I'm actually pretty pleased with the way this is working. So, the cells are breaking up a little bit. I did scorch a tiny bit, but not like I did the last one. It doesn't have as many cells holding as I'd like, but I don't want to really screw it up. So I think I'm just going to leave it alone and leave it at that. And I will come up with some kind of cute decal for it. Didn't realize when I propped it up I moved you out of frame. But different take on a beach tumbler. We've all done the alcohol ink style. We've all done the glittered ones. I wanted to try one this way. So thanks for watching. If you'd do me a favor and give me a like and a subscribe, I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.